Good morning and welcome to Daily Devotions with Pastor Joe. We're looking into the life of Samson, the final judge in the book of Judges. And it begins with Judges 13:1 at the start of his life. But we have 6 different passages over the next few weeks that we're going to be looking at, trying to dig into the life of Samson and get as much out of it as we can while not taking too long. Judges 13:1 says, "And the children of Israel did evil again in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord delivered them into the hand of the Philistines 40 years. And there was a certain man of Zorah, of the family of the Danites, whose name was Manoah, and his wife was barren and bare not. And the angel of the Lord appeared unto the woman, and said unto her, Behold, now thou art barren, and thou bearest not, but thou shalt conceive and bear a son." And so, after the good set of judges that we had before that kept the people more focused on the Lord and kept them more in line with what God wanted, they went away from the Lord, and the Lord punished them with 40 years under the persecution of the Philistines. Most likely, during the time that we're about to read about, many of the Israelites were beginning to turn back to God and ask for his deliverance. And it says that this man Manoah had a wife who was barren. She couldn't have children. Maybe they'd been trying for quite some time. Maybe they just knew that it wasn't going to happen because of some other reason that had happened, but they knew she wasn't having children. This happens to be a common theme, that God opens the barren womb to create children who are going to come forth to be great and mighty for God's kingdom throughout his word. Verse 3 says, "The angel of the Lord appeared unto the woman, and said unto her, Behold, now thou art barren and bearest not, but thou shalt conceive and bear a son." She's going to have a baby, and he's going to be a boy. And this is a promise that she's receiving from an angel of the Lord. Now, she doesn't know for sure that he is an angel. She doesn't know for sure that he comes from the Lord, but she will know soon enough. "Now therefore beware, I pray thee, and drink not wine nor strong drink, and eat not any unclean thing. For, lo, thou shalt conceive and bear a son, and no razor shall come on his head, for the child shall be a Nazarite unto God from the womb, and he shall begin to deliver Israel out of the hand of the Philistines." And so, normally, a Nazarite vow was something that, as an adult, you would take and say, I need to call out to the Lord for something, or I need something from the Lord. I'm going to take this vow for a period of time to abstain from alcohol, to abstain from cutting my hair, in order to just have that sign that I've taken this vow. My hair will be uncut until the vow is complete. And the Nazarite vow, once you shaved your head at the end of the vow, it would be a sign to all those around you that you'd finished the vow and you were done and no longer under the restrictions of the vow, that God had answered whatever it was you were looking for. And so, right from the beginning, right from conception, it says you will conceive, and so don't drink alcohol. Don't eat unclean things from conception. Shows where God puts life. Life begins at conception. Not even at a heartbeat, not even at the brain waves, not even at birth. It begins at conception. And so this man was to be a Nazarite unto God from the womb. So from the very beginning of his life, he was to have a Nazarite vow unto the Lord for all of his life. And he would begin to deliver Israel out of the hand of the Philistines. Israel was dealing with this for 40 years at this point. And they were probably well incorporated together to the point that there wasn't much hope of delivering them. But God said he will be the one who starts the deliverance. And the amount that he does deliver them from the Philistines is pretty impressive, personally. I think that's amazing. And one single man doing all of that should have scared them out of their wits and made them stop bothering Israel, but it didn't. Then the woman came and told her husband, saying, "A man of God came unto me, and his countenance was like the countenance of an angel of God." So she says, something about him, I think he was an angel. She says, very terrible, right? And that, to me, that little interjection sounds very interesting. And his countenance was like the countenance of an angel of God. Very terrible. It was very terrifying is what that really means here. There's something that strikes terror in her heart seeing him, because there's something so mighty about his presence. But I asked him not whence he was, neither told he me his name. So she said, I didn't ask, and I don't know his name, but I think he was an angel. But he said unto me, Behold, thou shalt conceive and bear a son, and now drink no wine nor strong drink, neither eat any unclean thing, for the child shall be a Nazarite to God from the womb to the day of his death. So unlike Eve, who had misquoted God, she here quotes very well, at least summarizes very well exactly what the angel had told her. And Manoah entreated the Lord and said, O my Lord, let the man of God which thou didst send come again unto us, and teach us what we shall do unto the child that shall be born. So he says, God, if this is real, let me know. I want to know how we should raise the child and what we should do. And it says in verse 19 something very encouraging. And God hearkened to the voice of Manoah. To be close enough to God that God says, I'm going to listen, I'm going to hear your voice, and I'm going to follow through with answering this prayer. That's somewhere we want to be. That's where I want to be. It says, And the angel of God came again unto the woman as she sat in the field, but Manoah, her husband, was not with her. And the woman made haste and ran and shewed her husband, and said unto him, Behold, the man hath appeared unto me that came unto me the other day. And Manoah arose and went after his wife, and came to the man, and said unto him, Art thou the man that spakest unto the woman? And he said, I am. And Manoah said, Now let thy words come to pass. How shall we order the child, and how shall we do unto him? Or in other words, hey, teach me what to do. I'm a first-time parent. I don't know what I'm doing. And the angel of the Lord said unto Manoah, Of all that I said unto the woman, let her beware. Just listen to me. I've already told you all you need to know. She may not eat of anything that cometh of the vine, which is a little bit more than what was said earlier, because they were not only to abstain from alcohol, but abstain from anything made from basically grapes or anything that came from the vine. So anything that could be made into wine, they were to abstain from. Neither let her drink wine nor strong drink, nor eat any unclean thing. All that I commanded her, let her observe. And Manoah said unto the angel of the Lord, I pray thee, let us detain thee until we shall have made ready a kid for thee. And the angel of the Lord said unto Manoah, Though thou detain me, I will not eat of thy bread, and if thou wilt offer a burnt offering, thou must offer it unto the Lord. For Manoah knew not that he was an angel of the Lord. And Manoah said unto the angel of the Lord, What is thy name, that when thy sayings come to pass, we may do thee honor? In other words, he's saying, how can we give you honor whenever this happens, and tell everybody, yes, he's the one who predicted it for us? And the angel of the Lord said unto him, Why askest thou thus after my name, seeing it is secret? I want to look just to a couple of commentators. Hidden from mortal men, says John Wesley, or wonderful, such as thou canst not comprehend. A name that's incomprehensible to the human mind, perhaps. Or Adam Clark says it was because it was secret that they wished to know it. The angel does not say that it was secret, but it is wonderful. The very character that is given to Jesus Christ. His name shall be called Wonderful. So it is possible, in the mind of these commentators, that this could have been one of the early shadowings of Jesus coming to speak. We know very often when we see the angel of the Lord that it's either Jesus or could be speaking of Michael or perhaps any of the other angels, but very commonly it's speaking of one of those two. So his name is not secret, it is wonderful. It's too wonderful. And that's perhaps a good way to look at it, you know. The Bible does say Jesus' name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Prince of Peace, all these other wonderful things, and starts with wonderful. And this angel here says, my name is Wonderful. Why are you seeking after it? Something that's beyond your comprehension right now, or perhaps beyond what you should know right now. And sometimes we as people need to be very careful not to seek after things beyond what God would want us to see or to hear or to know. You know, we should be very satisfied knowing only what God has chosen to allow us to comprehend and to know in the time being. Sometimes we ask too much. Sometimes we say, God, show me the future. And God says, but you're in the present, and to look at the future would cause you to be distracted from what you need right now. Verse 19, So Manoah took a kid with a meat offering, and offered it upon a rock unto the Lord. So he started this burnt offering on the rock. And the angel did wondrously, and Manoah and his wife looked on. For it came to pass, when the flame went up toward heaven from off the altar, that the angel of the Lord ascended in the flame of the altar. So he went up with the flame and the smoke. And Manoah and his wife looked on it, and fell on their faces to the ground. But the angel of the Lord did no more appear to Manoah and to his wife. Then Manoah knew that he was an angel of the Lord. So when it happened, he was gone. And Manoah said unto his wife, We shall surely die, because we have seen God. And that's the fear that we see very often in the Old Testament. Gideon, I believe it was, and different ones. Moses was another one, with the fear of seeing God and not living. Verse 23, But his wife said unto him, If the Lord were pleased to kill us, he would not have received a burnt offering and a meat offering at our hands, neither would he have showed us all these things, nor would as at this time have told us such things as these. Or in other words, she said, No, we're not going to die. God just gave us a prophecy. He said, we're going to have a baby. We're going to have a son. He wouldn't have given us this promise if he's just going to kill us. That's faith. Much more faith than Manoah was exempling there. And the woman bare a son, and called his name Samson. And the child grew, and the Lord blessed him. And the Spirit of the Lord began to move at him at times in the camp of Dan, between Zorah and Eshtaol. And so just the beginning of Samson's life, the beautiful events that led up to it, the wonderful angel of the Lord, the answers to their desires. Obviously, they cared about the fact that she was barren. That was something that no woman wanted during that time, and now it seems like too many of them do. But it was a desperate shame for a woman not being able to have a child during that time, and so she was desperate to have a child, I'm sure, as so many others would have been throughout the Bible. And Manoah didn't have quite as much faith. He was afraid they were going to die because they had seen the Lord. But she had plenty of faith and said, No, God gave us a promise. He wouldn't kill us after giving us a promise. One big thing, perhaps the biggest, thou shalt conceive, and because you're going to conceive to bear a son, don't drink alcohol. You know what? That's good advice for everyone. But it's good advice for everyone just not to drink alcohol. But she was going to conceive. The child was to be a Nazarite, to never have alcohol or anything from the vine. So be careful, because from conception, God considers life. And from that very moment of conception, she was not to do anything that would break a Nazarite vow. She was basically, during her pregnancy, to have a Nazarite vow herself that was then her son's Nazarite vow when he was born. So, anyway, just have to plug that in there about the birth, that life begins at conception, because it does. God doesn't begin life at heartbeat or at brain waves or at birth, like many people will try to argue in the legal circles. God begins life at conception. He plants that soul into the very seed that's planted into the womb of the woman. So, anyway, any thoughts or comments you have about this telling of the beginning of Samson's life? It would be great to hear. Put in the comment section down below. Like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends. Have a wonderful day in the Lord. God bless, and I'll see you later on another Daily Devotions with Pastor Joe.